Good evening, everyone. Based off your current time zone, thanks for joining the October Office Add-ins community call. My name is Preethika Kiruveedula. I am a product manager at Microsoft, and I will be hosting today's call. Our call today is quite brief. Elizabeth will be going over the top 5 AppSource validation errors from June to August of the year of 2023, and we'll go ahead and get started. So Elizabeth is a senior technical writer at Microsoft on the Office platform team. And as I mentioned before, today she'll be going over the top 5 AppSource validation errors from June to August of 2023. Elizabeth, did you want to take over?
I will. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So good morning, good evening to everyone. Thank you for being here. I wanted to share some information about AppSource errors and handling them. We published a blog last month, and so that information is in the resources slide that comes later. But we wanted to share that information with you in this forum. So these are the top 5 errors. I will go into them each one by one. So first off, we have that additional charges are not disclosed. So if you have any subscriptions, licenses, any services or offers connected to your add-in that you tell people about and say, hey, if you use my add-in, you can do this, 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 then make sure to include those in the description of your listing on AppSource. You can find that in the submission field. There's a description field that you can use. So you can say, hey, these are the services, give links to them so people also know how to get at them and are able to purchase them or whatever. So they know what's involved when they sign up for your add-in. Next up, we have that the first run experience is unclear. When they're going through for the first time, they're not familiar with your add-in. They may be familiar with your service, but not what the add-in does. And so you want to make sure that that's very clear. When they download it, when they install it, they know what they're going to get. Your start screen should explain that in a few lines. We understand that if it does target enterprise, then at least put an email address, some contact link so that they can then go to that and it will explain more about what you provide. You must also make sure that you indicate that this add-in targets enterprises, bigger businesses, commercial, in the notes of certification when you do your add-ins marketplace listing submission. Next up, functionality is not as described. So the things you said your add-in does, it should do that. And so we want to make sure that all the things that you explain about the add-in, the functionality, its features, all the lovely benefits and things that it will do for the customer, it does all those things. So anything that's connected to the add-in, you say the add-in does these things, it should definitely do them. If you have an Excel add-in that has custom functions, you have to make sure that each function is visible and the certifier, the person who's verifying it, they will be able to see it and verify that it does work. Next up, missing links for sign in, sign out, or sign up. So as we pointed out before, some add-ins need to connect to other accounts or services. And so if that's the case and they need to sign in or sign up when they need to use the add-in, you want to make sure that those links are very clear and prominent on the add-in's UI. If they've signed in, then the sign out link should be very clear, that they can just click that and they're out. So again, if it does target enterprise, then we understand that there may not need to be a sign-up experience. And as we pointed out before, if it does target enterprise, make sure that you point that out in the notes of certification so that the tester will know, okay, you won't see a sign-up link here because this is for enterprise. But you still must provide sign in if that's the case and sign out. Last but not least, you need testing instructions. So Right now, while there may be some automation involved, we do still have people who need to go in and check that the add-in does what it says it's going to do. And it's not always obvious, especially if you have some more complicated scenarios, exactly what you need to do in order to get through all the scenarios. And so you want to make sure that you provide as much information as you can so that the tester can verify each possible function in your add-in. They also make sure to check it against various OS and browser combinations. And so as much information as you can provide to them so that they can verify it quickly. They don't need to come back to you. And of course, the more times the tester has to be like, I don't understand how to proceed or to do something or whatever, then that delays certifying your add-in. And you want to kind of avoid that. You want to make sure they have everything they need so they can get through it the first time. And you're signed off and everybody goes on and your add-in is in the marketplace. So we have a couple options for you providing your testing instructions. In the notes for certification, you should provide any product keys, testing credentials, any things like that, that your add-in relies on in order to function properly or to go through every functionality that your add-in provides or is connected to. Because we can't have the testers now trying to figure out, oh, how do I get an account for X service or Y service? This should all be provided to the tester in the instructions so that they can just quickly go through, verify it, and sign off. And then you're on your way. If, however, you do have more complex scenarios, we provide an option in the additional certification info where you can give the screenshots, walk through the steps, illustrate how you get through each of the scenarios, and that information can be persisted. If you put this information in this PDF and upload it, then if you do need to resubmit, that information stays with the submission. So you don't need to upload it every time, unless, of course, you need to refresh it or something as you go along. Okay, so those are the top 5 issues that our AppSource submissions faced over that period of time from June to August of this year. And here are the resources. These are key certification policies. There are some that may apply to yours specifically, so do make sure to go through all of the certification policies, which we do provide a link for here. Yeah. We have this checklist that the AppSource folks do provide. They have a couple of them. Are you ready to publish? Make sure you go through that. There's a submission guide. They do have screenshots and all that good stuff that should help facilitate that process. And last but not least, the link to the validation errors post. That link is here. And that's it for me. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, let us know about that. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. That was a great presentation. And as Elizabeth mentioned just now, if you have any questions, feel free to add them to the chat. Our Q&A this month is fairly short. It's only 3 questions. The first question was, we are currently working on a proof of concept to migrate parts of an existing COM add-in to office.js. We make extensive use of a task pane that provides the user with ways to interact with the document. And in Office Online, when the user clicks on a button in our task pane, the focus on the document is lost. The user needs to manually click into the document to continue working. Is there any way to pass the focus back from the task pane to the document? Our recommendation here is that developers could try
really
dot
nothing
select.
to talk about anymore.
Really?
Pretty, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I think someone muted me. I'm going to start over with the answer. So the answer to this question is that developers could try dot select of the object they operate. For example, range dot select, and then the parameters, you see what the function entails, could help switch the focus back to the end of the range. For more details, this is a Microsoft Learn link, so feel free to learn more at this link right here. But if you still have a follow-up question or this proves not to be helpful, I would recommend going to a technical questions link that'll be at the end of this call. That might prove to be more helpful for what APIs we have that might be useful in this situation. For our second question, it is improving Office.js performance a priority? Event handlers and interactions with content controls can be quite slow, especially at scale. When can we expect improvements in this area? So we are currently working on some enhancements for content control performance. However, for this specific ask, we need to understand which specific performance issues you are having. For example, what kind of interactions need to be improved specifically. So it'd be great if you could go to this Office.js link and create an issue and showcase what performance issues you're having and what you think should be improved. That way we can go ahead and add it to our backlog or give you further information on how we're going to handle this scenario. Lastly, we received this question this morning, and it says, are there any plans on being able to hide, get rid of, or move the task pane personality menu in PowerPoint? We're currently investigating the answers to this question. So once we have the answer, I will put it in the next community call or the blog post. All right, so that is all for our Q&A portion of this month's community call. These are just some quick links if you are new to our community and this is your first time attending a call. So this is a documentation link, some quick starts, intro to Script Lab, some of the samples that we offer for Office add-ins in general. And of course, you can always join the Microsoft 365 Developer Program if you are more interested. And we also have a link to Office Scripts, which is another feature on our team. If you'd like to engage with our team for technical questions about Office add-ins, so this is what I recommended one of the questions should go to, this link. We have an aka.ms Office add-ins dev questions. So this is specifically for more technical questions about a product. Feel free to go here. And then we have a Stack Overflow as well. And then for product bugs that you find, which is what I recommended for the performance question, you would go to this GitHub link and add an issue, and then we'll go ahead and triage it and proceed forward. And then if you would have any feature requests or ideas that we could add to Office add-ins, feel free to add that to the M365 Dev Suggestions link. And then you could always send us a smile or frown at Inside Office. And we have a variety of calls across our overall M365 team. So if you are interested in any of these calls, there's some examples of what they are here. You could also always go to the All Calls and Assets link at the bottom of the page, so you can peruse through all the different calls that we have and the schedules they're at to see if that also fits your needs. All right. Thank you very much for joining today. The recording will be available in about 24 hours on the Microsoft 365 Community PNP YouTube channel. You can also go to this link to look at previous calls YouTube channels. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at Microsoft 365 Dev or M365 PNP. Our next call will be November 8th at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the link below is how you would join that call. It's the same invite as today's, so it's not very different. And if you have any questions, there is the aka.ms Office add-ins form, which is how we get the Q&A answers for this call. Feel free to submit them for November. Great. Thanks, everyone.